This guy, Josh Bergeron, is going to show us a version of a cable curl. It's a good exercise. I'll make some commentary about it after we see a couple of repetitions. I do want to point out the fact that this guy has outrageously good biceps.
So as you can tell, we're just using a controlled weight. We're going to grab the inner grip first. Like I said, we go inner and then outer. Now getting in here is a little bit of a trick. As you get heavier in weight, you just grab it, put your legs down, laying flat, totally extend the arms, whether at a full starting position, straight, curl it in. Whenever you're curling it down, make sure you're not moving your elbows. You want your elbows in a 90-degree angle, and then you're just using biceps, curling it in, touching your forehead, and back out where you're totally locked out.
Okay, that's the movement. Now, a couple of things that I want to say about this. Of course, the fact that he's on a bench is both good and maybe not so good. He can't swing the way you might be able to on a standing barbell curl because he's lying flat, right? However, if he were to get into a really, really heavy weight, it would lift him up off the bench. So I've actually done this exercise with training partners where we have to hold each other down by putting a hand down on the chest to keep you from rising up. Now, what I want to say is this exercise here probably will teach us to use better form, because I would say the majority of the time we all use more weight than we probably should use. We compromise our form. He has beautiful form. I want you to really notice the fact that he keeps his elbow perfectly stationary and he really focuses on that contraction. So that's what we should do. Rather than throwing a bunch of weight and eliminating the focus that we need to have on that contraction, he really emphasizes that contraction, and that's a good thing.
And again, and back out, where you totally start from a ground zero, from a resting position.
Okay, I stop it right here for the simple reason that I want you to see where his forearm is and where that cable is. Right there, they're at 90 degrees, they're perpendicular to each other. That means halfway into the range of motion, his bicep will experience maximum resistance. When he's straight up, when his forearm is parallel to that cable, or less than perpendicular, he'll get zero or percentages between maximum and zero. But that's the position of maximum resistance right there.
To a total contraction.
He's got less than maximum resistance, but he's got full contraction. And the way muscles typically work is we do need to have slightly less than maximum resistance at the point of contraction, exactly like that. That allows you to get into that bicep and really flex it. If you have too much resistance, you won't be able to do that.
And back out, where you totally start from a ground zero, from a resting position, to a total contraction, where you really concentrate on the squeeze of that bicep.
Now, I want to point something out here. That's one of the benefits of this exercise. And by the way, if you haven't already figured this out, you could almost do the exact same exercise. They're very similar to it by inverting yourself, hanging straight down from a bench and letting a barbell hang free and doing a hanging, what we sometimes call spider curls. The key to this exercise and the spider curl is that there's nothing behind the elbow, which means that normally when he starts to curl, that elbow is going to want to kick back. That's an automatic reaction, right? But by keeping that elbow stationary, he's involving the secondary function of the bicep. The bicep has two functions. The primary function is to bend the elbow, but the secondary function is to flex the shoulder because that bicep actually crosses the shoulder joint. So just maintaining that posture and not letting the elbow kick back down involves a secondary bicep function. Holy cow! Now, I have to interject here only because if I don't say this, you're probably going to be thinking, well, for crying out loud, this is what I should be doing. If his arms look like that and he does that exercise, this is what I should be doing for bicep. No, that's not quite right. It's a good exercise, don't get me wrong. But his biceps look like that because he's who he is. In other words, his genetics predispose him to have good arms. This is an excellent exercise, but I guarantee you that his arms would be fabulous if he never did that exercise. So should you incorporate this one? Sure, it's a good exercise. It's a very good exercise. Will it make your bicep look like his? Not unless you have his genetics.